Hello and welcome back to Amethyst Racing here in Tier 1. We are at the Hungaroring here in Hungary. We're getting just prepared for qualifying now. I am your new full-time Tier 1 commentator for the remainder of the season. Luke Martin will be sitting out and we hope to see him back very, very soon. But for the meantime, I'm afraid you are stuck with me. So I hope I can make this race interesting as we see the first few cars coming out. I believe that is one of the Mercedes. Yes, that is Mr. Soy Bean out on track, the first one out. Let's get all this set up. So we need detail. We'll have let's have best on telemetry. Let's have a bit of telemetry, and of course the track map back on. I believe this stream is working. Sue Bean, yes, indeed. So your current grid today, only 11 drivers. We have Mr. Rico van Basten in the Alpine. We have Alwell Prank. Not sure how that became Prank. It's been a typo or something. We have Mr. Bean, as you see on screen. We have Edward in the Alpine. We have Silas Gotting in the Mercedes. This is his second race, I believe, if I'm not being stupid. We have Kiziel subbing for Ferrari. We have the two AlphaTauris of Lund and Lundqvist, I believe that's how you pronounce it, as well as Skalski in the other Ferrari, and Ratcliffe, the sole McLaren, out today. Right, as we get ready to see Bean come for his first lap, we're going to ride on board with him, starting his lap, ERS on, DRS on, crossing the line to start his first lap, and the first lap in qualifying. Down towards turn 1 we go, braking just before the curb, getting it nice and turned in, hooking the car up to clip that apex. He seems to have done that pretty well. Down the hill into this tricky braking zone of turn 3. It's turning and braking, and it's downhill. It's all the ingredients to make you want to kill yourself going into a braking zone. At the end of sector 1, of course, it is purple. That's a 27.1. It gets a little bit of oversteer through turn 5, I believe that is. Up the hill now, make sure not to bottom out on that curb because it's very easy to do so. Braking at the entry of the curb. Dips his wheel in the grass. That is not ideal. Very tight section, very precise, very easy to invalidate. That is an Alpine ahead of him, but he's cleared him pretty easy. Coming to the end of sector 2, not invalidating. That's a 53.7 in the second sector. Hooking it up nice for the second apex, nearly invalidating once again. Tricky braking zone for the penultimate corner, but he seems to have got that pretty well, using all the track on exit, and into the final corner we come, hooking the car up very nicely early on throttle, DRS as early as possible, and across the line. That is P1. That's a 15.2 for Mr. Bean there. Next across the line will be the McLaren of Conor Ratcliffe. He has invalidated, so I believe he's starting another lap. Next across the line, that is Lundqvist into the pits. I don't think he thought that lap was sufficient enough, so he's not going to complete that. Is this Kiziel? No, that is Mr. Skalski, who was also invalidated. Very easy to invalidate around this track, and that is Williams. I believe that's Prank. He's also into the pits. A lot of people into the pits today. That is not Edwards. That is Van Basten. Across the line, and he's gone quicker than Bean. That is a 15.1. As we see a few people cross the line now. Gotting going ahead of Bean, ahead of his teammate. 7,000 separate those two. And Alwell, I believe, would have backed out on his first lap. He's not that good. And Lund with a 15 flat. 1.7 tenths ahead of anybody else. That is not a bad lap from Lund whatsoever in the AlphaTauri. Let's have a look to see the Ferrari of Kiziel starting his lap now. Probably not the optimal line you want to be taking, but we're going to have a look at his teammate Skalski, who's coming to the end of sector 2. It's a 55 flat I'm not sure that is the best lap time from him. I believe he's also coming into the pits, if I'm not mistaken, or getting ready for another lap. Let's have a look at Van Basten then. Down low on ERS, I believe he's done 2 laps here. We're in the penultimate corner, hooking the car up nicely, using all the track. And he's into the pits. I believe it's Josh Elwell, if I'm not mistaken, in the Aston Martin, British Racing Green, to the line. He stays P7, 7 tenths behind Connor Ratcliffe in the McLaren. Lundqvist coming out of the pits, he's on his out lap. Now Kvyat towards the final turn, that's a 54.4 if I'm not mistaken, in the second sector. Not the quickest, but I believe it should put him a few places higher. No, he stays behind Alwell in P8. And that is everybody completed their lap. So we're going to go to Mr. Prank over here. Obviously the meta in this game is to hold the brake and the throttle at the same time. Make sure you get those tyres nice and toasty before you start your lap. We've got Lundqvist just behind in that AlphaTauri. Not the prettiest of cars this game, I will admit. As Alwell, he's not on a lap. He's going to be coming into the pit. Skalski in P11 not coming out yet, but let's ride on board with Prank for his first lap in Q1. In this short qualifying session across the line. He's starting his lap over the crest and down the hill into turn 1, braking just before that curb, getting the car hooked up, not exactly going on the curb but clipping it. He gets a little bit of a wiggle on coming out of that corner, down into turn 3, and he gets the car turned in nicely, clips that curb without fully eating it, towards turn 5, I believe it is, at the end of sector 1. That is a purple sector 1, I'm not sure how much I trust that, but he seems to have held this lap together pretty nice so far, being careful not to bottom out on that exit curb into this tight chicane, and he does not dip a wheel in the grass like Bean did on his first lap, missing the apex slightly, and he invalidates. He goes off the track, so we're going to switch just behind to Lundqvist for the remainder of this lap. Coming to the end of sector 2, he hooks it up nicely through to the end of sector 2. That's a purple sector 2. I'm not sure how much I trust it. We'll have to see, but coming into the penultimate corner, hitting that apex perfectly, using all the track on exit, rounds the final corner early on throttle as possible. DRS open towards the line. It's going to be a 15 flat. He goes ahead of his teammate by 7 thousandths of a second. The AlphaTauri separated by 7 thousandths, and so are the Mercedes. That is possibly one of the first times I've seen that. But we're going to watch Skalski, who's on his lap now, opening that DRS down towards turn 3 we go. Braking late, that Ferrari looks beautiful, and so does that helmet. It matches it very nicely. Through the kink, up the hill towards turn 5, flicking it in, using all the downforce available to him, a dab of the brakes, and hooking it up nicely, coming towards this tricky chicane now. Not the best of camera angles, but third gear through there, early on throttle, a fair amount of brakes, I'd say, but this is just an oversized go-kart track anyway. That AlphaTauri of Lundqvist getting out of the way for him. Down into the final part of this lap, into the penultimate corner, into the little dip. He hooks the car up nicely, hits the apex, uses all the track available to him. Through the final corner we come. He's going to get on throttle early. He's going to open DRS as early as possible to the line. That puts him P8 ahead of Alwell and his teammate for this race, Kvyat, as Lundqvist comes into the pit. Who is next on the lap? I believe that is Alwell starting his lap, and Kvyat also starting his lap. But Lund is also on an out lap, so we are going to switch to Connor Ratcliffe, who has invalidated. Oh, you're not making this easy for me, lads. Is this Bean? No, this is Silas Gotting through the second sector. He's 2/10 up on his time, and that's a crash. That is Connor Ratcliffe. He has come together with Lund. What a... Lads. Oh, dear. We are going to switch back to Gotting, though. For the final corner, he crosses the line. He goes P3 ahead of Van Basten. I'm not sure what's happened there, but I believe Lund will be into the pits after that one. That was not great. I actually want to see if Lund has damage. I can't see any damage as of now. We're gonna switch to Alwell coming through the penultimate corner into the final corner we go. It's DRS open. No, it's not DRS open. He opens it at the very last second, but that's a 15.7. It's an improvement, but it's not quite enough to improve his positioning. And Bean starting another lap based on his ERS. DRS early as possible. Very tricky zone to get your car out of that corner. DRS early, it just reduces downforce, means you can't get on throttle as early as you might want to. But to the end of sector 1 we go, and he is 1/10 down on his time. I'm not sure how well he's going to take that. Not sure whether he's going to come into the pits or he's going to see this lap through. We are going to switch to Rico Van Basten, though, who is 1/10.5 down on his last time, and he comes into the pits, maybe wanting to get in another lap, but we're going to switch to Prank around the final corner. DRS early, towards the line, straight as possible. It's P9. That is not a fantastic lap for the Williams driver, recently transferred over from Mercedes, if I'm not mistaken. But Bean towards the line, he's 500ths up in the second sector, and he goes ahead of Rico Van Basten with the purple sector 3. And everybody but Prank and Bean are in the pits, which is not what we want to see. We want to see a bit of action. We want to see a bit of controversy, which we did see with Ratcliffe, who was since DNF'd after coming together with Lund. I'm not sure what happened there. Just checking. There we go. Yeah. Right. And Prank, he's going to be coming into the pits with 5 minutes remaining on this session. He's got no ERS. So into the pits he comes. He'll be wanting to get a better position than P9, because we've seen him perform better than P9 this season. Actually beating me a few times. Hate to admit it, but he did. He's a good driver. Other than that, he is very annoying.
Connor Ratcliffe, have my children XXX.
What did I just hear? What was that? Connor Ratcliffe has my children. Oh dear. Thank you though, Swan, for that subscription. For 8 months. Oh, 7-month streak you're on. Ah. Thank you very, very much. Oh, I do not want to do that. Why does it keep... Oh dear. Right. So we've got a bit of a wait. One thing I'm not sure of is if people will want to do 2 outlaps, and it seems that I believe that is Gotting. If I'm not mistaken, that is Gotting coming out of the pits. He's either going for a very early lap, or he is going to do two outlaps. He's the only one we can keep an eye on for now, so we're going to leave it on him. We're going to see how he's doing, tabbing in and out, it looks like. And that is a Ferrari of Skalski. It is Skalski coming out of the pits. with that yellow, purple, and green helmet. Oh, and blue. It's not purple, it's blue. It's not a bad looking helmet, I must admit. A few people coming out of the pits now, getting ready for their final runs in Q3. Silas Gotting with a purple helmet. That looks very, very good, I must admit. It goes very well with the colour scheme of the Mercedes. Purple and blue. No, it's just purple, I think. Purple and white. Very, very nice colour combo for that car, I'll admit. Being just behind, got a car of, I believe that's Van Basten in between them. No, that is Edward in between them. He's sitting P6 currently. So we're going to have a look to Gotting. We're going to watch his lap first. He's lagging all over the place. You may want to sort that for the race. If not, then hey ho. Yeah, this is now Gotting starting his lap. He comes out wide, cuts back in to start his final run in Q3. DRS open, ERS on, down towards turn 1, over the crest, down the hill, braking as late as possible, getting the car hooked up on the apex, and he's got that nicely, opening DRS just after he's got to full throttle to make sure the car is nice and stable on exit, hooking it up nicely through turn 3. That is a very, very good looking Mercedes, and an even better looking lap up to the end of sector 1. What can he produce? He's 200ths down on his previous time. He seemed to have missed the apex a bit there through that fast left-hander, breaking into this tricky chicane. He wants to get that right because you can gain time if you've messed that up previously. You can gain a lot of time through that. If you get it right and he's invalidated, he may have a chance to have another lap. But we're going to look a bit further behind to Edward, who is a 10th, he's 3/10 up. That's a purple sector 2 for the Alpine, hooking it up into the 3rd sector. He seems to have missed the apex slightly there. Tyres are cooking at this point in the lap, but he's got it nicely hooked up for the penultimate corner, using all the track available, sending it into the final corner. Throttle as quickly as possible. DRS towards the line is P4 for Edward Bean. What can he produce? It's P1 for Bean. Provisional pole for the Mercedes driver, a 14.9, the quickest lap we've seen so far. Is this Skalski? It is Skalski coming towards the line. What can he do? It's only P8 for the Polish driver. And we're going to look to Edward's teammate, Van Basten, sitting in P6. He's invalidated. He's not going to get another run for the remainder of this session. And we're going to have a look at, I believe that's Lundqvist, who went off track there. Managed to not invalidate. He's only 1,000th up in sector 1. What can he do in sector 2? He's 2.5 tenths down. That is not ideal for the AlphaTauri driver. If they want to beat Bean to pole, he's got to gain 2.5 tenths. 3 tenths in the 3rd sector to beat Bean. But no, he's not going to be able to do that. So we're going to look to his teammate, who seems to be going very slowly, if I'm not mistaken. Yet he's into the pits. As of now... Oh! And Lund spins in the pits, and Prank has gone up to P9. As of now, it is Bean on pole. Has he done it? That is Bean on pole, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen that before, but congratulations to him and the Mercedes team. That is a drive and a half from Bean. Well done to him. He beats Lundqvist and Lund, the 2 AlphaTauri drivers, to pole. It's a Mercedes sandwich for AlphaTauri. That's a brilliant result for Evan Potts, the TP. And Van Basten and Edward also doing very well. Not the best of days for Ferrari or Aston Martin. Kvyat in P11, 4 tenths behind Alwell, which is not ideal. Ratcliffe, with that earlier crash in qualifying, managing to remain P8. But Bean ladies and gentlemen, is on pole. Well done to him. And hopefully he can keep that momentum going into the race. Gotting invalidated a 14.7. Oh dear. That could have been a Mercedes 1-2, Potts. Just remember that. Could have been. What could have been. But no. You no longer have that. You've messed it up. But here is your starting grid. It has been, for the first time on pole, Lund getting a 5-place grid penalty for that collision with Conor Ratcliffe. That is going to drop him down just behind Conor Ratcliffe, actually. Lundqvist in P2. It's a Swedish 2-3. Obviously, Lund dropping down, so it's going to be Gotting P4, Edward P5, Prank P6, improving that P9. But not getting into the top 5, just over a tenth behind Edward. Is then Van Basten in P7, Ratcliffe 8th, Skowski 9th, Elwell P10, and Kizil rounding out that qualifying in P11. Best Australian commentator. I hope you kill yourself, just so you know that. I probably can't say that on stream, but I hope you do. Bean is also my GOAT, Peter. Well, actually, Lund is my GOAT. He is my season 9 champion. Generational talent, he is. But Bean, more of a generational talent apparently. He is up in P1. Ahead of everybody else. That is a thrilling result for him. What does Lund's rear look like? If you mean on the car, it looks pretty well. It looks pretty decent. But we are going to be starting. I have by Lund, yes. We're going to be starting the race now. It's Bean on pole, followed by Lundqvist. It's 5 red lights. It's 5 red lights out, and we are racing in Hungary. Bean gets a very, very good start down towards turn 1. Lundqvist slotting in P2. That is an Alpine pulling out to try and overtake Silas Gotting in P3. Round the outside goes the Alpine of, I'm not sure who that is, but Lundqvist, and we're going to switch a bit further back. It's 3 wide into turn 3. What is that? It is still 3 wide going through the King. Silas Gotting, and there's a big collision. That is Lundqvist down to the bottom of the grid. And we're going to switch back to Bean, who has already pulled a pretty decent gap to everybody else. It's Edward up into P2. Conor Ratcliffe up into P3. I don't know how he's done that, but he has. Van Basten P4, Elwell P5, and it's side by side for Prank and Lund. They're still side by side, if I'm not mistaken. No, Lund has dropped back. I believe he went onto the grass there. And Gotting all the way down in 8th. Heartbreak for him and Lundqvist, as Kizil has gotten ahead of his teammate, who is P10. They're going side by side into the next corner. Still side by side, Gotting and Kizil battling it out now into the penultimate corner. There's a little bit of contact. They're going 3 wide once again, but Gotting showing that was Skowski, showing Skowski the runoff, and Skowski goes through into P9 as Gotting and Lundqvist go into the pits. But sorry, I missed that. Elwell getting past Van Basten, a brilliant start for him. He's up into P4. Conor Ratcliffe, though, the big news is P3 for him from P7 on the grid, sorry. And yes, there is 11 people, so it was an exciting first lap, and that's it. There's nothing else going to happen now. But Bean has pulled a 7/10 gap to Edwards, and this is where Prank, I have called him Prank. This is where Bean starts to play the tyre game, I'd say. Let's check. Oh, did not want to do that. Let's check what tyres everybody is on. Edward on the medium, Bean on the soft. He's going to be wanting to get away from... Oh, what am I doing? Do apologise. He's going to be wanting to pull away from Edward, get out of DRS for lap 3. And Skowski and Kizil, the two Ferraris. I believe they switch positions there. Skowski is on the medium tyres, Kiziel on the hard compound tyres. Lundqvist, I don't think had damage, but Gotting most definitely did. 5 seconds behind has been. So that's the quickest lap of the race. And Prank now all over the back of Van Basten, pulling to the inside. He's later on the brakes. He's got the move done going into turn 1. He's pulled 4/10 coming out of... oh, he is on the soft tyres, yeah. Leo Lund, yeah, he can follow very closely, and he's following very closely to the back of Van Basten. 2.5 tenths with Prank pulling that gap, and Lundqvist into the pits again. I don't think they repaired his front wing, so I believe he's going to be repairing that once again. Lund's going to be wanting to get a bit closer to Van Basten for the DRS pit straight. He's going to be wanting to have the easiest overtake possible, and hopefully not use as much ERS as he wants to. I'm not sure if the soft medium works. I feel like because it's Hungary, it's going to be very, very difficult to do that. But Beam has not managed to pull a 1 second gap to Edward. Edward is holding on. He's got that DRS, and Ratcliffe is holding. He's holding his own against Alwell, and even though Alwell is on those soft compound tyres, we're going to switch back to Lund, who gives us a crap camera angle, but he does pull ahead of Van Basten into turn 1. That was a pretty easy move for him. DRS enabled. He managed to sail past on those hard compound tyres. Let's see what he can what he can do in this race. Let's see if he can actually keep up with Prank on those soft compound tyres. And Ratcliffe is actually pulling to Alwell. I'm not sure how he's going to do that. But Bean is dropping time to Edward. I'm not sure if Bean doesn't have the best tyres at this point. Obviously because of his tyres. But we'll have to wait and see. I know for sure Edward is not quite close enough to make a move on Bean down the next straight. Yeah, he's used about 50% battery, I believe. But we are going to switch back to rank in that Williams. All over the... Well, he's going to be all over the back of Alwell coming down the straight. He's deploying ERS. He's into the 60% now. Which way is he going to go? Is he going to go outside or inside? He switches to the inside. Coming into turn 1, they're still side by side. Alwell's not giving this up. Still side by side on exit, and Rank pulls ahead with that DRS. Alwell can do absolutely nothing. DRS is way too powerful around this track. And Lund pulling up to the back of Alwell. I'm not sure how he's doing that on those hard compound tyres, but yeah, I think this could be a solid result for him, and we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Edward, though, sticking with Bean, even though Bean is on the soft compound tyres, he's not able to pull that gap. He's not able to show the qualifying pace that he had here. His race pace is not as good as his qualifying pace, but Rank has a bit of a train behind him with Alwell on the soft compound tyres, Lund on the hard compound tyres. Lund will want to keep these tyres as long as possible, switch it onto the softs, and have the best tyres at the end of the race. Edward pulling a bit closer to Bean. He's only 5/10 behind now, but not much happening in this race, as it's kind of expected. If you put Formula 1 cars on an oversized go-kart track, you don't expect to have top-tier racing. But these are very good drivers, other than Ratcliffe and Prank. But yeah, you are right, Boland. He has stopped crashing since he left Mercedes and joined that Williams team in blue, replacing Peter, who has gone on vacation to Poland, of all places. So hope he has a very nice time, and I also hope he judges Prank, because he needs judging. But we are going to switch back to Edward, who is 3/10 behind Bean, all over the back of him. I'm not sure what Bean's game is here. I don't know whether his tyres have just gone off or whether he's slowing down a bit to sort of play the DRS game, but he is defending that inside from Edward, who pulls to the inside and gets the move done before turn 1, but Bean is not fighting it back. There's a little bit of contact from Bean trying to get the clap back, and he just could not do that. But sorry, I missed that. Lund is past Alwell already on those hard compound tyres. I'm surprised he's managed to do that, but he has. I was too busy watching the front two. Edward takes the lead of the race. Let's see what he can do in comparison to Bean. I imagine Bean's tyres are cooking a little bit now, because he's on. They start this race with about 55-60 litres of fuel, depending on the track. So it's a heavier fuel load than qualifying. Those tyres are going to be not having a field day. They are going to be suffering a bit, and Edward has almost pulled a second gap. But closest battle at the moment, surprisingly, is Skalski and Alwell, who started next to each other on the grid, and are currently battling it out a few places up. Well, not battling it out, but Skalski's going to be battling it out with Alwell in a minute, and Lund has pulled a second and a half to the Aston Martin driver. I believe that is tyre difference at this point, as Skalski pulls to the inside and he makes that move look very easy. He's got the move done before turn 1, but he takes a defensive line for some reason, and it seemed that there was a tiny bit of contact from Alwell, who has Van Basten all over the back of him, and Van Basten round the outside of Alwell, through the kink they come. Alwell not giving up. Off the track they go. They're still side by side, coming up to the top of here, but Van Basten gets past spectacularly. A little bit of barging, but legal barging from what I can see. I don't think Alwell was entitled to space on the exit of there, and I think Van Basten took advantage of that. He showed him the runoff, and Alwell had no other place to go, but Lund has pulled right up to the back of Prank on those hard compound tyres. Maybe that is the strat. Maybe the hard compound tyres are the strat, but he is looking for a way to get past Prank here. And I imagine he's going to be wanting to do that on the next DRS straight, make it as easy as possible for himself. Can't quite see his ERS, but I'd imagine Rank is going to be using his down to what, and Rank is, that was weaving if I've ever seen it, but they're side by side going into turn 1, and Lund is past. Prank tries to get the clap back on him, but there's just no doing for him. There's no way to get around, and Rank goes very wide. I can't imagine that was an intentional move. And the biggest news here is Edward has pulled 1.3 seconds to Bean. I think the softs were a bad call. I'm not sure that was the best idea to do that, but Lundqvist doing nothing but dropping time to Silas Gotting. He's close to being lapped at this point. And Lund has 3 seconds to gain on Connor Ratcliffe in P3, who is having a brilliant race. He's gaining a bit on Bean on those medium compound tyres. His tyres are not going to be screaming like... Shut up, Byron. I'm trying... I don't know what else to say, bro. Look at these gaps, bro. Lundqvist is 40 seconds behind Gotting. Gotting's 20 seconds behind, and they're all like a second separated. Rank definitely gonna win. I'm not too sure about that one, Chief. Just let them race and shut your mouth. Why would I do that? I don't want to do that. I like being annoying, so if that annoys you, I'm gonna do it. You should know that by now. More entertaining for me to shut my mouth. Damn. I really have taken up the wrong job. Lund wins, I predict. That is a good shout. He is gaining on Ratcliffe. He's only gained 0.3 or so in this past lap, but he is gaining, absolutely. I need more bullets. And Lundqvist has DNF'd in the pits. It was just no race for him. Hopefully his AI does not block anybody when coming out of the pits. But Prank is holding on to the back of Leo Lund, and Alwell is the first of the soft runners to come into the pits. What tyres is he going to go on? He is switching to the hard compound tyres. So he's going to be going to the end of the race. And if one of the soft runners goes onto the medium tyres, I'd imagine towards the end of the race, they are not going to be on pace with Alwell, and Gotting comes out just behind Alwell, but I don't think Gotting is going to make it to the end of the race on those tyres. He's on 9-lap-old hards already. I can't imagine he'll do 34 laps. So 10 drivers remaining. As long as you don't crash, you get a point. So, I'm not sure it's... And Alwell with a 3 second. I was rooting for Alwell. I was hoping he'd do well. Hoping he'd get like a top 5. But will any of the soft runners respond to Alwell pitting? I'd imagine Prank does. No, Prank doesn't. So the soft runner's staying out for another lap. I wonder if they want to go onto the medium tyres. It is entirely possible. The closest battle at the moment is Rico van Basten and Skowski, who are a second apart. What? What does that even mean? I don't want to say it because I don't know if it's like racist or something. I'm not. I don't want to say it. But Ratcliffe is actually pulling away from Lund. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for the protein, sir. Now you're worried about what you say on the street. Yes. That is a big weapon, sir. No one into the pits as of now. Ratcliffe is into DRS of Bean. Those soft tyres are not performing for Bean in the way he wants them to. So he's going to have to pull something special out of the bag to keep the McLaren driver behind him. He's only 0.6 behind, and he's going to gain a lot more, especially if Bean's tyres have gone off. He's going to gain a lot in the second sector, the tightest and windiest section of this track. I mean, all of it is, but because there's so many corners and they're all very low speed, it's very easy to gain time on people. That also makes it a very good qualifying track. As we saw in qualifying, someone unexpected. Oh dear. I should probably turn my notifications down. I do apologise for that. I don't know if you even heard that. Yeah, not much happening at the moment. Prank sticking within DRS of Lund slightly. But Lund almost comfortably in that 3 second. NPC notification sound it is. But Connor Ratcliffe on those medium tyres, he's got the DRS. down towards turn 1. He's not close enough to make a move on Bean, but maybe he'll be able to get a better exit out of the first turn down towards turn 3, but no, he's not. He's going to have to stick behind him. Violent. Hey, look, I'm American. Yeah, I'll have a double cheeseburger, a pickup truck, and a shotgun. That is my best American impression for you. But Ratcliffe, 2.5 tenths behind Bean now. Obviously dropping a bit in that chicane as expected. But even with Connor being stuck this close behind Bean, he's going to lose downforce and he's going to lose a lot of time to Lund. But Lund is not gaining as much as you'd expect. He just cannot follow cars like Lund can. He's following them pretty well, but Bean is into the pits. He's going to be the first of the remaining soft runners to take that liberty and pit. I believe he will be going on to those medium tyres. And does he? Yes, he does. I think. Yes, he does. I was right. Praise me. But Prank's still out on those soft compound tyres. He's losing time to Lund, which is not great. And Kiziel gets past Bean coming out of the pit exit. Bean is just... Yeah, he didn't have that gap to Kiziel. No, Byland, you didn't listen to what I said. He's the second one of the remaining soft runners to pit. The first one of the remaining soft runners to pit. He's not the first one of the soft runners to pit. He's the first of the remaining soft runners. Saying Al, but you got it wrong. Your logic makes no sense. There is literally no one close to anyone. But Edwards, he's losing a bit of time to Ratcliffe. Soft to medium, yeah. We'll have to see, but Edwards is into the pits already. Is he going on to the hard compound tyres? I'd imagine he is. And Ratcliffe, for the first time in God knows how long, he's on the hard compound tyres, but Ratcliffe, for the first time in God knows how long, is actually leading a race. Well done him. He's having an amazing race. But Edward and that was my telemetry lying to me. But Bean and Kiziel trying to go side by side. Bean does he get the clap back? He doesn't quite get the clap back, but he's going to try and make the move. Kiziel is making this very, very hard for Bean, and he's squeezing him as much as possible. But Bean is going to get frustrated, so frustrated behind Kiziel, but he gets ahead just before the end of Sector 1. And before that tricky left-hander, you don't want to be going side by side through there. But Bean is provisionally, or net P1, and Edwards gets ahead of Kiziel just before that tight chicane. And Prank, he's pranked himself. He's got a 3 second. Oh, what a camera angle. I'm not saying that, Strix. I'm not saying that. I'm not a 12-year-old, and I'm not. Do I want to, Byland? Do I want to? But rank is past Alwell before the start of lap 18 for them. Sorry, 17. No, 17 for them. But Ratcliffe is holding his own against Lund. He's doing very, very well this race. If he keeps this up, it's possible, and I say it's possible for a reason, because Lund is a very good driver. He's a generational talent. As some might say, such as Peter and myself. And Lund may have the better strategy for the end of the race. Yes, Luke, Connor is winning. It is unbelievable. I'm just as shocked as you. I can't lie. He had a terrible qualifying. P8, crashed with Lund. I want to see that happen again. I can't lie. And now he's P1. Strix, I'll see what I can do about you getting your points back, but I can't do that because I don't think I can. But Lund is P2, into the pits. On those hard compound tyres, that seems slightly early for his strategy, but we will have to wait and see. I don't believe anybody else is battling, but Prank, sorry, my mistake, Prank is battling, and he's battling with Kiziel. He's going to try the inside, and he hits the back of him. Possible damage for Prank there. Once again, he's pranked himself. NASCAR, you are right, Luke. He's bump drafting, that's all he was doing. But Van Basten has closed up to the back of Skowski. Those medium tyres seem to be dying. If I was Connor, I would be pitting this lap, seeing as Lund has. So Lund down in P8 behind Kiziel. He's got to manage to get past him. He's slotting in behind now Prank. So Prank, I'd imagine, is going to try and make it difficult for him. But Lund is through on Kiziel. I don't know whether Kiziel let him through. He's on 17 lap old Haas, and Gotting is just, I don't know what's happening with him. He's down in P10. Yeah, that instant at the start of the race, and he just has not been able to recover. But Skowski leading a train of 4 cars down the straight. Will Van Basten be able to make a move on Skowski? Yes, he does. He gets past. But Bean now past Skowski as well. He's going to be wanting to make a move on Van Basten on those fresh mediums. Around the outside he goes, down towards turn 3 now. We're going to ride on board with him. He has the fresher tyres, and he just manages to make it through before the next corner. But just behind, Van Basten and Skowski battling it out. They're going 3 wide up to the top of the hill. And no, they've thought more of it. And Skowski, this is basically NASCAR. This is basically NASCAR at this point. Skowski in a Alpine sandwich, and Lund gets a 3-second penalty. That is going to foil his plans for P1. Edward is going to be frustrated as hell, sitting behind the tugboat that is Skowski as of now, because he's on those fresh tyres and he just wants to get past the Ferrari. But Skowski helping out Bean now. He's really helping him out, and that was a pretty clean move from him. He's got his DRS teammate. I can't speak English anymore. He's got his teammate's DRS now down the next straight, so he's not really at threat of being overtaken by Skowski as of now. But Alwell in P9, sitting just behind Kiziel on those 8-lap old tyres, and Lund with the 17.4 on the mediums. As he pulls to the inside, it doesn't look like Kiziel's making that too difficult for him. And he gets through. He's got the DRS down towards turn 3. It doesn't look like Kiziel is fighting that one. It wouldn't be in his best interest to do so. But Lund is already caught up to the back of Prank. It seems that in these races, his second stint is a lot better than his first stint. And yes, Luke, I'd imagine he is. I'm not sure how good of a strategy that is, because after 15 laps on the first stint for the tyres, and Lund is already through on Prank. I think Prank just wants that DRS, and Conor Ratcliffe finally comes into the pits. I had a solid grasp of English, I'll have you know. And Bean takes the lead of the race, followed by Edward and Ratcliffe. You are right, Luke. He is on the soft medium. Lund goes through. Prank goes through. Skowski also into the pits on 20 lap old. He's onto the hards for some reason. Not sure why he'd do that to himself. But Alwell and Kiziel are through on Skowski. He's going to come out just behind Van Basten. So hopefully he can catch up to the back of him. So Bean leading this race on the medium tyres with Edward on the hards. This could shape up to be... It's possible. They did it in the first stint, which has more tyre wear, so... I'd imagine they're going to be doing it, Luke. I imagine they can get to the end pretty easy, just they won't be that quick at the end. But yeah, this could shape up to be more of a race of tyres. So if I was Bean, I'd be hanging back a little bit, I'd be saving tyres a little bit for this race. Yeah, you are right, Barland, I did. Closest battle at the moment is Alwell, just behind Kizior in P7. He's on 10 lap old hards, Kizior's on 20 lap old hards. So the difference between these two is going to be tremendous, I'd imagine. See how much... Kizior's tyres are cooking. I mean, his strategy's cooking. It's fantastic. And Alwell with the DRS. Kizior has run out of battery. I don't know whether he's running a lower downforce setup, but Alwell sends that up the inside. Stunning move from the Aston Martin driver. That was very unexpected. And it looks like Van Basten is going to want to make a move round the outside on Kizior on those medium compound tyres. He's through before the King, and Kizior gets a little bit of a snap, and that was a fantastic move from Van Basten. A little bit of weaving. Hopefully he doesn't get reported for that, because that would absolutely ruin that sequence of corners. And Van Basten, oh my god, he sent that out the inside of that chicane. That was not the best idea from him, I can imagine. But Ratcliffe on the soft compound tyres, going to want to catch up to the back of the next few drivers, and Van Basten possibly eyeing up a move into the next corner. I wouldn't, but he's going through. Got a beautiful camera angle for this. He's leaving the room on the outside. Alwell is leaving the room on the inside. Very respectful racing from the two, still side by side. Are they going to play a DRS game? No. Van Basten does not take DRS. Meanwhile, Ratcliffe takes the fastest lap. Possibly Luke. It was very quick. It seemed a bit like weaving. That's the only reason I say it. But Leo Lund, 3/10 behind Edward now, looking to take P2 and looking to take the win away from Bean, but he has got to gain 3.5 seconds to get to Bean. He's got to get past Bean and has got to gain another 3 seconds. And Alwell gets another 3-second time penalty, speaking of. So he's going to drop behind both Ferraris. And if he's not lucky, he's going to drop behind Silas Gotting. Is it? Is it Luke? I thought if you weave too quickly, it wasn't legal. I don't know. But Lund switches to the outside. Edward defending that inside line. Beautiful racing from the two so far, and Edward defending that clapback from Lund. Lund trying to hang it around the outside on those medium tyres, but there's no doing for him. He's going to have to wait till... I don't think he's going to. I can't see much. They're going side by side. They're still side by side, and Lund manages to make it through on the outside. That was... Oh, hello, Edward. Edward having a bit of a snap there, going off onto the grass, but he's managed to control it very well. Now being fucked. Well, you've got to remember, Byland, Lund has got to gain 6 seconds on Bean in order to win this race, and he's gained 3/10 in a corner. Right. If he was defending a car off, it's illegal. If it isn't actively defending. Right, well... I mean, he just got past, and there was a car within, like, 1/10.5 of him, so I'm not too sure. I can't comment on it, I'm only the commentator, but we'll see. So, the battle for P1 is on. We're going to switch back to Alwell, who's sitting just behind Kvyat in P8. Sorry, in P9. Kvyat in P8 on 23 lap old hards. I'd imagine he wants to come into the pits very, very soon, and he stays out another lap. What is he cooking? Not sure what he's cooking, but Alwell, with the DRS, he opens it, and he's just going to be able to breeze past Kvyat, I'd imagine. Yeah. No, Kvyat draining his battery, I think, but Alwell later on the brakes into turn 1. Oh! And Kvyat has spun Alwell round. Oh, poor Alwell. Poor Alwell. He's been overtaken. He's... Look at... Oh. Poor man. Poor man. He's sitting there. He's depressed. And he's been disqualified. I would be annoyed as well. But, hey. Oh. Prank in P4. That is a yellow flag in Sector 1 for Alwell. So we can ignore that. So Prank within DRS of Edward. It seems that Edward trying to break that toe. He's made one move away from the racing line and one move back to it, which is perfectly legal. And Connor Ratcliffe, if he's lucky, and if these two battle it out for the remainder of the race, he got disqualified because he parked still. But I'd imagine that'll be a fat penalty for Kvyat. But if Ratcliffe is lucky, Prank and Edward will battle it out for the remainder of the race, and he'll be able to slip through on those soft compound tyres, because he seems to have had tremendous race pace here in Hungary, but not too much pace in qualifying, as we saw he DNF'd with Lund, actually, who's pulled within 2 seconds of Bean. And he is gaining by the second on Bean. It is just a matter of time before he gets into DRS. And I'll keep an eye on the gap between Prank and Edward. But for now, let's see this gap close in real time, riding on board with Leo Lund, who's managed to go very nicely through turn 1. No DRS for him, which is in contrast to qualifying. He's run it very wide, going a bit deep into turn 3, but he hasn't lost too much time to being flicking it into the left, and he's not using all the track, but he's certainly using all the limitations of the car. The car was slid a bit through that fast left-hander, actually. Dipping a wheel into the grass there, that's not going to help him, but he doesn't actually lose any grip going through the left-hander. Coming to the final, the end of Sector 2, he's gained all the time he lost in Turn 3 back, and I'm sure there's more to gain in the third sector on Bean as Gotting to add to his woes. Down in P8, he gets a 3-second time. I actually didn't notice Kvyat was in P9, 26 lap old hard compound tyres. He's going to be dying on there. And yes, you are right, Luke. Connor is gaining on them. We're going to switch back to them. That is Van Basten. We're going to switch back to Connor Ratcliffe, and we're going to have a look at these two, because he has a pretty decent battle. He has a pretty decent view of this battle ahead of him, and the one he's about to join on those soft compound tyres. If I'm not mistaken, from the sound of his engine, I believe Kvyat did forget the pit lane is there. I believe he is lifting and coasting slightly, so he may have under-fueled, and that may be the reason why he had a lot of race pace at the start of the lap. And yeah, I think he is lifting and coasting. Other than that, it's either that or the game is playing tricks on me. But those soft compound tyres are really helping him out, and Prank is all over the back. Well, not all over the back. To Monk, that's all over the back. but he's 4/10 behind Edward. He's going to be wanting to get through as quickly as possible. The worst position as of now Prank can get with his 3 second is P5, but I believe Connor will get past him as Rank gains. He pulls to the inside and he pulls back to the racing line because Edward is just a bit too far ahead. But is he going to manage to get past into turn 3 down the hill, down the gears into this tricky corner? But no, he's kept it pretty nicely up to the end of sector 1, up the hill, flick it in, and Connor just sitting behind, nice and content. But the tyre advantage that he once had, I'd imagine, is diminishing by the corner. But meanwhile, Mr. Leo Lund, has almost got within a second of Soy Bean, previous tier 2 champion last season. Actually got moved up to tier 1, and he's, as you can see, performing very, very well. It seems like a lot of people are rooting for Bean, i.e. the Mercedes team. But Prank, there's no doing for Lund. He didn't quite have DRS for that straight. But Lund, I can't speak. Pause. Woo. Prank all over the back of Edward now. He's trying to look for a way to get past Edward, but he just can't find a way. He's got the tyre advantage, but he just does not have a racing line to get through on, and it looks like Ratcliffe, unless something happens, it looks like he's going to have to settle for P5 because that tyre advantage is gone, and the only thing that is going to happen now is his tyres are going to drop off. He's dropped out of that second of the cars ahead, but still a great race from him and a great showing for race pace. Because you're still out on those hard compound tyres, I'd just like to say. I don't know how he's doing it, but he is. And Lund, within 5/10 of Bean, coming down the next straight. Will Lund be able to take the lead from Bean with 5 laps to go here in Hungary? He's not gained as much as he would have wanted to down the first straight, but he's got a pretty decent exit by the looks of it. Even in that wake of air from Bean's car. We're going to switch just a bit further back because Prank is 3/10 or so behind Edward, and he seems to be sitting behind maybe. Try and keep that DRS for the remainder of the race. Only 5 laps to go now for these drivers, and Ratcliffe is back into DRS. I think we're all very happy with that because we want to see Ratcliffe do well. He's done a lot for the league. He's a very nice guy, and he hasn't had the best of luck in races. So I think it's about time he has some luck. So on track, he may not be able to get past, but Prank has that 3-second time penalty. So it is possible that Ratcliffe will be promoted to P4. And Lund is just all over the back of Bean now. He's within 3/10 of him, but he's not quite close enough to make a move yet. But we're going to stick with him. We're going to ride on board because he's ever so close to the back of that Mercedes car, the red Ineos rear wing. Bean starts flashing. He's got no ERS left, less than 10% that means. And Prank also within 3/10 of Edwards. He just can't find a way past quite yet. The same as Lund, but Bean goes a bit deep. Lund backs out. I think he thought better of going side by side through that next corner. And yes, you are right. Bean has shown his worth here today. It was a very, very good idea dropping Nielsen from Mercedes and replacing him with Bean. It's good to see him off the grid. But here comes Lund. He's within 2/10. I'm not sure there's going to be much that Bean can do. Bean gets a far better exit. And look at that. I think Bean is just running lower wings. And Lund seems to be lifting and coasting. I'm not sure what that's about. But Rank down into turn 1. He still can't find a way past Edward with those lower wings that Edward has. We've seen that young Wonder Kids veterans. Well, that's been proven this season with me. I think that can be said. But yeah, Lund, I think he's running a little low on fuel because he's dropping off the back off Bean, and I'm not sure whether that's lifting coast or whether he just does not have the pace as of now. Kizil finally into the pits after 31 laps. On those hard compound tyres. I think he's going to be going for fastest lap. But look at the gap between Lund and Edward. Bean has pulled that gap on merit to Edward. Yes, Edward had a few cars to get past that Bean didn't. But he is doing very, very well. And I think everybody can applaud him after this race. But Lund still trying to find a way past. He just can't quite do it. He pulls to the inside. He pulls back to the racing line. There's no way to get past him as of now. But he's going to have DRS down towards turn 3, down the hill. And he's still not quite close enough. Oh, I thought he was going to hit the back of him there. And Lund looking to get past Bean. But I'd think and they're going side by side into the next corner. Bean leaves just enough space that they don't make contact, but Lund seems to like going side by side through there, and I'm not sure why. Even if Lund can get past this next lap, he's not going to be able to pull 3 seconds to Bean, so Bean has just got to hold on, not spin, not get taken out for one more lap, and he will be a winner here in Amethyst Racing Tier 1, a winner once again. After he won last season, he's defending his Tier 2 championship in another tier, but he's doing extremely, extremely well to fend off Leo Lund, the current championship leader, and I think some people might say the fastest on the grid, but Bean, side by side with Leo Lund now. Leo Lund with the DRS. Bean has just got to stick behind him, stick within 3 seconds for the remainder of the race. And Ratcliffe, no! Ratcliffe gets a 3 second just before the end of this race, so he's not gonna have P4. Oh, his luck ran out towards the end of this race, but Lund pulling a 4/10 gap to Bean. He's not quite pulling what he needs to get 3 seconds to the Mercedes driver, the Tier 2 champion, now in Tier 1. Will he be able to hang with Leo Lund's stuff? Prank dropping off the back of Edward. Those tyres are not helping him, and Ratcliffe sticking within 5/10 of Prank. Bean, though, sticking well through this second sector. Flicking it right, and Lund goes a little bit deep. He had a bit of understeer, I believe. Don't go for a move, Bean. There's no need to do it. But he is. He wants to win on track. There was no need to leave space, so he hasn't. Coming into the final corner, there's a bit more contact. Respectful racing between the two. Using all the track possible. Coming through the final corner. Here comes Bean. He's through. He's going to take the win here in Hungary. Leo Lund tries to get past, but there's no doing. Bean takes P1 here in Hungary, followed by Leo Lund in P2. Edward misses out on P2 by 0.08 of a second. Prank in P4, followed by Ratcliffe P5. Van Basten takes P6. But hats off, bow down, it's Bean, the Mercedes driver. He's won here in Hungary. He takes his first Tier 1 win. What a drive from Bean. Hats off to him and applause to the Mercedes garage. What a race from him. That is absolutely fantastic and that is amazing to see. He is a Chad. He is an absolute Chad. Well done to him. Well done to Lund. 600ths of a second he missed out on. Edwards misses out on P2 by 800ths of a second. Brilliant racing in the final sector. Bean didn't have to get past on track, but he did. He wanted to. Well done to Bean. Big thanks to all the boys and girls back at the factory. Leo Lund gets driver of the day. It's well deserved. P8 he started, and up into P5. Would have been P4 if he hadn't have been a bozo. I got a penalty at the end of that. But here you have your Hungary race winner. That is Soybean taking the top step for the first time here in Amethyst Tier 1. He does it with an absolutely fantastic race. That was a fantastic drive and well-deserved win from Bean. Hats off to him, and well done to all the Mercedes drivers. Unlucky for Gotting, his teammate, but Leo Lund P2 and Edward P3, both amazing drives for them, especially Leo Lund coming up from P8 on the grid. But here you have your final race classification. It is Bean P1, Lund P2, Edward P3, Rank P4, and Ratcliffe rounds out the top 5 with Van Basten sticking in P6. He started P6, he ends the race in P6. Skowski P7 up from P9 on the grid. Pretty good showing from him. Heartbreak for Gotting down in P8. Kizil took the fastest lap on the final lap. That is P9 for him. And Lundqvist with a DNF in P10. Alwell unfortunately being disqualified from the race. But well done to Bean. Fantastic. Fantastic drive from him. We are going to be back in a minute with interviews, so stay tuned. And won't be too long. There we go then. Back for interviews here in here after the Hungary Grand Prix. We're going to invite Bean up to speak first. I don't know why it's got a black screen, but Bean, P1, your first P1 in Tier 1. How do you feel?
Wow. Yeah, I'm sweating so hard. Like, I had to push so hard to keep the Alpine and then Lund behind me, and it was just so difficult. And turns out, yeah, um, I managed to keep the pace up, and obviously I pitted a lap early actually to get the undercut, so that seemed to pay off. But the tires were not happy towards the end, so you know. I got pole as well. I know some people messed up their laps, and mine wasn't amazing, but we got the job done, and racing was pretty good today. So
Yeah,
if
you did a
I,
fantastic job from our perspective. So well done to you. And it mustn't have been hard to keep Lund behind, and you had a fantastic battle in the final sector there. So
yeah, it was very difficult. I had to play a bit tactically because I didn't know if his penalty was actual or he could get it removed. So, you know, I was just trying to keep him behind at all costs, pretty much, and then for that reason, which is why I went for the move in the last sector. Otherwise, obviously, I wouldn't have done that. But thankfully, it was all good and it was all clean and it was first win. So hopefully, we can get many more in the future as well. So yeah,
of course,
very happy.
we'll be hoping to see that. And next race is Kota. How are you feeling for that? It's a sprint race.
Well, it's I'd say I'm pretty decent at the track. Well, I was before on the last game, but I don't like it too much. But it's a decent track, and I want it in tier 2. So we'll see what we can do. But that first sector is just penalty central. So I can't say I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean it's better than Las Vegas for sure. So
I think any track is, to be honest. So it wouldn't have been more entertaining, but it's a better track to drive. So yeah,
yeah.
well done. Thank you for coming up, and hopefully we'll see you next week in Kota.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Who is next up? I believe it's Edward. Oh, wait, no. Is Lund here? Lemon is here. That's not Lund. So we're going to invite Edward up. Hello, Edward. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Oh, nice. That's fine.
So P3, you missed out on P2 by 800ths of a second.
Yeah, I know. I know.
How are you feeling after that one?
Actually, pretty decent. I absolutely had no practice. Literally, Jake DM'd me like a couple hours before the race. You want to race tonight? And I was like, yeah, sure. Well, why not? And then I saw the attendance and I was like, fuck. But yeah, I think pretty solid race. A bit unfortunate with the like 2 laps after the pit stop when I came stuck behind my teammate and Casper Sky in the Ferrari, and I think that cost me P2 in the end. But
Well,
for the rest, it's a good race.
yeah, from what we saw, you had a lot of pace. I mean, you were faster than Bean on the first stint, so you did a fantastic job there. And I honestly, I hope we see you a lot more in the future because you really helped spice up the race today. So next race, Kota sprint race. How you feeling?
We'll see then. I guess I don't know yet. We'll see how the practice goes. I guess.
Oh, that's good to hear, and well done today. Congrats on P3. Did very well. Should be proud of yourself, mate.
Yes, thank you.
Right, Mr. Who's next? It's Prank. Prank. There you go. Is Lemon your race engineer?
Yes.
Right, Lemon, you can come up as well. Right, rank P4 for you.
Yeah.
How you feeling after that one?
Not the best, but it's not my track. didn't have much practice, so I'll take it. Only 6 points, I think it was. Lost to AlphaTauri, which is what we're fighting for in terms of constructors. But firstly, I want to say big congratulations to Bean on the win. Huge win for him, and yeah, not the easiest for him either, as you could tell Mr. Lund was sniffing his rear wing. So I think it's a well-deserved victory. And yeah, congratulations, Bean. You deserved it very much this race. And
Couldn't agree more.
congratulations to Lund for P2 as well after the penalty and everything. But yeah, and Fico, good pace, man. I just couldn't keep up on the final sector. It was. Yeah, I hope to see him a lot more in the league in the future as well.
Well, from what we saw, you seem to be having a few tasty battles. Actually, it was very entertaining to watch. You stuck with Lund very well in the first stint, even though your tyres were going off. I think DRS must have helped you there.
Yeah, actually, thanks to my engineer, he was telling me what ERS. Actually, no, Lund didn't have telemetry. I lied.
Ooh.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we got proof as well. I'm not gonna throw the kid under the bus. He's just turned 14, so leaving no comment on that. But yeah, I think keeping up is not the word I would say. I think I was with him purely because of Mercy. I think it's because he had a lot of moments once he passed me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
why, but his tires, I don't know. Like, he was having a couple slides moments every now and then. He actually broke the DRS gap once he passed me for a lap, and then he started making small mistakes here and there, which is how I caught back up. And after that, it was just holding on as tight as I could to his DRS, which did help me at the end, but I wouldn't say I was keeping up with him very well. I think he was just making a couple mistakes, which was saving me in terms of keeping up with the DRS.
I see. And Lemon, as engineer, I'm interested to know. You had most people's telemetry, I'd assume.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was tyre wear and temperature like? Because I'd imagine
Well,
it'd be quite high.
temperatures for pretty much everyone was around like 100 to 104 mostly. And the tire wear was quite similar actually. I think Rank and Edwards were like on the same tire wear. Like the hards weren't like gaining tire wear. I think like most of the stint, Edwards was only like 2-3% like less tire wear than Rank. He didn't gain any tire wear and stuff. So I don't know how he was burning through his tires, but yeah, sector 3 especially. Every single time he came like to be 2 tenths behind, and then the final sector he just lost 3 tenths or something. It's crazy, and he just couldn't get the exits that Edwards were getting, probably because of the tire wear difference and tire difference, anyways. But we gave it a good run. I think his driving was pretty decent, pretty good. So yeah, it was good to the engineer again.
That's absolutely fantastic to hear. Talking about next race now, Rank Kota. It's a sprint race. How are you feeling?
Kota is a good track for me, I would say. It was a good track for last year's game and the game before that. And obviously with this year's game, it's a lot easier to drive, especially sector 3 with low speed corners. The traction's a lot easier in this game, I would say. So it's a track that I think favors me, but obviously at the same time, I can't be too confident because I have to look at pace from all the different drivers, especially the quicker ones, which kind of took me out by surprise, especially Edwards and obviously being up there. He was up there for a long time, but um, yeah, I'm feeling confident, but at the same time, I don't want to be too cocky and say I'm going to be quite fast. But we'll have to see what the practice times are like from different drivers, and then hopefully um, reflect on that and see where that places us in terms of pace.
That's good to hear. Well done for today, P4. Not
Yeah.
a bad result for especially the team.
Yep.
So yeah, well done and congratulations both of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Thanks
thank
for
you. thank you to everyone watching the stream as well. Thank you to my engineer, lovely person, Lemon, and I hope it was very enjoyable for you as well, Alex, to commentate.
There were parts of it that were boring, but a lot of the time it was pretty
Yeah,
enjoyable. So.
that's kind of given with like 11 people driving now.
Yeah, I tried to. We try to make it as fun for commentators. Well, at least I
do
try to.
thank you a lot. You actually
we-
provided most of the entertainment.
Yeah,
We,
I always try to
on
make.
purpose went slower so we could battle with people. So,
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
There it
I
is.
see.
Sandbagging my pace, so commentary is going smooth. But yeah, nice to have you as well, Alex. First time in the commentary booth as a main commentator. Wish you the best for everything, and
Well, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our racing tonight.
I did. So thank you guys for coming up, and
Yep.
I'll catch you guys next week.
Yep, ciao, ciao.
yeah, see you, mate.
Right, for the second man of the hour, just behind Bean, Mr. Connor Ratcliffe. Let's have a chat with you.
I get the second best treatment. Okay, I'll take that for finishing 5th. I'll take that.
Well, you had a fantastic race. I was rooting for you for getting a podium, but you were a bozo and got a penalty in the final corner. Talk us through your race.
I'm a bit upset about it. I can't lie. I wasn't exactly expecting to be P3 at the end of lap 1 or wherever I was. So I chose to use like basically the best race tire around here, the mediums off the bat, just to try and. I thought I was gonna have to like climb through the pack kind of thing. But that wasn't the case. I kind of just got gifted a P3. But that kind of, I'd say, ruined my options from there on because the softs just die off pretty quick. So you want to be on the faster tire at the end, obviously. But then the main problem for me was fuel. I literally had no fuel for the last stint.
Were you or were you not lifting and coasting?
I pretty much started lifting and coasting after I set the fastest lap. Like
I heard your
every
engine.
lap.
I heard your engine. And I was like, he's lifting and coasting. So I didn't know if I was going to be stupid afterwards or.
No, yeah, I've pretty much every turn 1, turn 2 since I set the fastest lap, temporary fastest lap, I was lifting and coasting, all in an effort to push on like the last 2 laps, and then the last corner on the last lap, on the penultimate lap, rank went wide and I just kind of followed him, and yeah, and the first 2 warnings were so stupid as well. Like that's what was the most annoying part.
You are a tool, you know that.
I am.
You could have had
The thing
P4.
I could have. But the thing is as well, like, I was really expecting rank to get past Edwards. That's why I kind of felt comfortable sitting behind them and saving fuel. So I was just kind of waiting for that to happen. Then I was going to go and attack Edwards and then carry on with rank and just save him because he had the penalty. Just wait for the podium. But that didn't really work out. So yeah, it was very frustrating. I think that's probably the most annoying race I've had. But yeah, I mean, I led more laps than I've ever led in the last 2 seasons, so I'll take that. And it's 10 points. I mean, I've just scored like 2 more points than I've scored all season in one race, so I'll take it. But yeah,
Exactly.
a bit annoying.
From our perspective, you did absolutely fantastic. There were a few of, especially me as well. There were a few people in chat that were rooting for you. So I think we're happy to see you get out of P8.
I mean, not only was that the lobby empty today, but there was literally just me in McLaren.
Yeah.
Where usually it's me, Smith, Rolf, and Swan, but Smith literally broke his wheel like an hour before the race, so that's why he had to back out. But yeah, just a bit frustrating overall, but it is what it is.
I have to ask, what happened? We missed it because
in Quali.
In Quali, what happened?
So I did my first lap. I invalidated. I did another lap with the same tires, like on the same fuel load, because I'd put in enough laps for two laps. Set that lap, and then I went back into the pits, came out, and then my hot lap, I did the exact same thing as I'd done my first hot lap, where I invalidated. So I backed off, but I wanted to get back in the pits so I could get round to do another lap. And then going into like out of sector 2, on that little mini straight before you get into like the two penultimate corners. To two penultimate corners, two final corners. Was it Lund was like sat on the racing line going really slow, like I think he was warming up for his lap. And I was like, right, he's not going to see me, so I'm going to go right to like avoid him and just go past him because I was not on my lap. I was just, getting back into the pits. And as I went to go right, he pulled right and just completely took me out.
I see. Well, from what happened from our perspective, or my perspective, I should say, I switched back to you because everybody ahead of you had invalidated. So I switched back to you and I was like, "You've invalidated as well." So I switched. I think it was Edward. It was either Edward or Van Basten. I switched to them just behind you, and this was just as you were coming out to the end of sector 2. So I switched to them behind you, and they drove past, and we just saw you and Lund in a wall. What's happened there?
Yeah, so it was just he didn't see me overreacted kind of thing. Like I think he maybe just saw me on the mini map first before he looked behind him and didn't realise I was already on the right hand side of the track. It happens. But he messaged me afterwards and was like, "Should I just retire?" And I was like, "Nah, just carry on with your quali, mate. It's fine. It is what it is." Like, I mean, I think
got a plan for afterwards.
I mean, my personal best lap I think would have put me like P4, but that is like, full sweat mode. That I'd have to literally nail everything. So I'm not too bothered. It was P7 or P8 in the end, and I got to P3 by end of lap 1 anyway. So it didn't really matter. But yeah, it is what it is. And no, I mean, the grand scheme of things, getting taken out on quali and then finishing P5, it could be worse. But just a bit frustrating because I was everything was going well until like I realised, shit, I'm gonna run out of fuel and all this, and yeah, it wasn't great. But thank you for commentating anyway.
No worries. Well, it was a treat to watch. Next week,
even with 11 drivers.
I mean, there were parts of it, like parts of the race, like right in the middle, were a bit boring because they were all separated by 6 seconds.
To be fair, you had like a good mixture of strategy going on. At least you had like people on hards, me on mediums, Bean on softs, Fico on.
That's what kept me entertained. That's what I could actually talk about. I just waffled to that for 20 minutes.
Was I the only one? Well, in the people that weren't at the behind, there was like 2 packs going on, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I think I was the only one that went to the mediums to softs. Like, I don't think anyone stayed out.
Skalski
or did Van
out
Basten?
No, Van Basten didn't.
Skalski
did. But I think he went on to the hards. I'm not sure. But
I mean, my stuffs, even though I was fuel saving every lap, they only just made it. I think I was on 58, but on the last lap.
Oh dear.
But they didn't feel bad though. That's the thing. They don't really. I don't know. But anyway, I'll let you go. Have a great night. Thank you for commentating.
You too.
And hope you weren't too bored.
I definitely wasn't. So thank you very much, and catch you next week. I'm gonna do one more. I could do you both at the same time. Why not? You're both Ferrari. This. Connor, right? I won't commentate again if you make another joke like that. Anyway, Skalski Kizil.
Hello.
Not the best of days for Ferrari, I think it can be said.
Well, since I took over Ferrari, it hasn't been the best.
No, you've done pretty well. Both of you in the points. I know it's hard not to finish in the points, but still. First thing I want to ask, Kizio.
Listen,
what in the name of all that was holy was going on with your strategy?
I finished 40 seconds behind P8 and I got the fastest lap, so I don't give a shit what you say. I'm happy.
I've never seen anyone do so long on the same pair of tires.
I realized that, after Spain I thought I might be, tier 1 material, and then I did this race and I realized I'm washed as fuck and I belong to the tier 3.
Mate, you should have seen me this season. Jesus.
Man, but I swear to God, I am so fucking slow. I don't know why.
Well, both of you for me. You both had some lovely battles. Skalski, you were definitely having some nice battles with Van Basten. That was very entertaining to watch.
Yeah. I mean, the first stint was pretty nice. For the first couple of laps, I thought I could prolong the stint to maybe go to softs. But when I saw somewhere around lap 17, 18, that my front tires were near 60%, then I decided to go to hards. Because I wasn't very much confident if those softs would last 15 laps or even more. Then it was just a lone race, to be fair. Yeah, a little bit of fight with that Aston Martin and Kishel, of course. Yeah, pretty much it was just about to bring it home and take the result as it was.
Well, fair enough. I think you both maximise, especially with your qualifying positions. I think you both maximised what you could have today. Not necessarily you, Kazil, with your.
I gained 2
You
places.
really,
Fuck off.
you went to Ferrari and you were like, "Fuck it, I'm going full Ferrari mode."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, about my quali, I don't know if you've been watching my last lap, but I actually got blocked on my last lap, and I would have improved on this lap. So yeah, but still, it was a very good race, nonetheless.
So next week, Kota, it's a sprint race. How are you feeling?
I hate this track, and I hate sprints. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
The plumber does not like the Americans. I couldn't resist. I've refrained from calling you a plumber or a bricklayer, both of you, the entire race. I had the opportunity to do it a million times, but I didn't. So give me this one.
Okay. We'll give you this one, but only this one, okay?
Okay. So Kizil, Kota, how are you feeling?
I'm yet to race in Hungary again.
That is a
So,
very good point.
yeah.
Hungary, how are you feeling?
Shit. I feel like I'm gonna do 32 laps on hards again and then pit for the fastest lap.
Well, I'll be commentating again, so hopefully, I want to see that
Isiel's
again.
master plan.
I want to see that again. But yeah, thank you both for coming up and doing an interview. Both drove pretty decent race, so well done to you both. And hopefully we'll see you again next week. I'll see you, Kizzy, Sunday.
Alright. Bye, everybody. We love fat kids.
Like you.
No, we don't.
Right, get down. Man.
Bye.
Get down. Right, that is the end of today's stream. Hope I was an adequate commentator for you all. So, yeah. I'll catch you again on Sunday for Tier 2. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. And, yeah. I've been AFJ. Peace out.